Absolutely a no stranger to Good Hope FM, a no stranger to every Cape Town heart, and definitely a superstar that we've seen birthed in the mother city, fly the mother city's flag, not only around the country and the continent, but over the seas. We're extremely happy to have him here because he is a busy man. I know that he just came back from the US. He's also dealing with a lot in terms of his own personal life, but for him to make time to link with us right here on Good Hope FM during our Heritage Month celebration, man, it wouldn't be right if we didn't kick it off like this. It's the one and only, the Y General.
Yes, sir.
Yati.
Yes, yeah.
Young van Riebeck.
Woof.
Mr. YoungstaCPT.
Salutas, bro.
How you been, brother?
Oh, the tall wonder, yeah. The tall wonder. The eighth wonder.
Nah, man. How's it being a dad?
It's great. It's great in terms of I don't have to watch movies and imagine what those feelings are like anymore. You know, now I can actually say it's a lived experience.
Yeah.
And also to revisit your own childhood.
Beautiful.
Through the eyes and the life of your own child.
Yeah.
And as well as forgive. You know, your parents maybe. For things that you didn't understand.
Man.
Because your parents were growing up while they had you.
Man.
And they were learning as well.
Don't you feel guilty like, I gave you some trouble?
Very much so, bro. Very much so. Just also as a man, to know what it's like now to encourage someone else's development in manhood.
Absolutely.
And also what it means to be a good man and a well-mannered man and stuff like that. Like, that is things that you hope to instill in your child,
That's
but
crazy.
You also know that they have their own journey to walk and they have their own mind and they will absorb different things throughout their life, you know, and that will also show you the individual they become. Some of it will be from you, but some of it will be from their own learned experience.
Absolutely.
You know?
I mean, we're talking about heritage, and heritage obviously ties itself to culture.
Sure.
And I think you're very unique because if I think youngster and I think heritage and culture, there's actually different tiers of you. And correct me where I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah?
There's certainly some sort of heritage that comes from your late grandfather.
100%.
There's certainly some level of heritage that you identify with as a colored man.
Correct.
And then there's definitely a cultural element of you which you lend to hip hop.
Indeed. And then the fourth one would be, I would say, the religion.
Absolutely.
Islam. Yeah. Being a Muslim man.
Islam. And let's start right there with your late grandfather. We know that the influence he's had on your life.
Of
and
course,
sorry for your loss.
Indeed. Thank you, sir. Thank
you. You shared online that your grandfather played a pivotal role in the forming of your ideas and how you went into the world.
For sure.
What were those ideas?
That actually ties back into the first question, and I'm glad you asked it after you spoke about fatherhood, because that was the role, you know, that he played in my life, and now I see myself playing it out for my son as well. So it's kind of a full circle moment. But yeah, I would definitely say like just the fundamentals of what it is to survive as a male in South Africa, and you know, obviously coming from his time, that's way more different than what we grew up experiencing. But there was still a lot of tension, there was still a lot of animosity in the air. I think when we were growing up, we were kind of getting the tail end of the apartheid regime. You know what I mean? So a lot of that was bleeding over into the 90s and the 2000s, and that's how we've ended up in the situation we're in now. But I definitely think without that guidance, like for me to be there in my son's life, also to give him the gems and the jewels of life, things that he can cherish and keep as little nuggets of wisdom. That's what my grandfather gave me when I was growing up.
True.
You know, it was a lot of life lessons, learned experience and shared experience that I only see now. Oh, I'm actually kind of also reliving some of it, you know, some of what he went through, even though not in the exact same context, of course, but definitely through politics, through culture, through a lot of conversations you hear online happening, and as well things you see in media. You're like, oh wow, some of what he had experienced is actually still carrying on now, you know, just in maybe a more stylized way, a sophisticated way, you know, not as brutal, of course, as I said. But definitely to be a survivor. But he taught me that. He taught me you know, good manners. He taught me etiquette, you know, work ethic, and resilience. That's a big thing that I learned from him, you know, not giving up, being consistent. You know, life knocks you down 10 times, try and get up 9. So yeah, man, it's things that I can't necessarily put in words because it's past already.
Yeah.
And I've now internalized it and I'm showing it through my actions. So I don't always know where they came from or what he said to inspire some of those things. Obviously, it's, as you say, also I'm influenced by hip hop.
Absolutely.
So it's combining all those life lessons from, you know, your family and then what you're listening to, what you're influenced by, and then you go outside. There's that element also. So I feel like positive male role models are few in our time. So when you do find one that's good, you know, you hold on to that. And that was my grandfather for me. Like I saw him as a positive role model. And at some point I was also scared of losing him, you know. And before that even happened, I wanted to pay tribute to this man and honor this man. Look,
absolutely,
you know, he didn't see the spectacle I made of him, obviously, you know. Yeah. But for me, it was important just so I could kind of tick that off my bucket list. Like, you know, I've done something.
I've honored my superhero.
Yeah, that will last in my family for generations.
That's beautiful, bro. That's beautiful. You know, I want us to have an open chat. You got that?
I'm a rapper, bro. I write lyrics for a living, bro.
Colored, and complete the sentence. Colored man, you are.
You are misunderstood. That's all. It's just a misunderstanding, miscommunicating. One of my favorite album titles is The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
One of the best albums in the world.
And one of the best albums, also people hail it, you know, as a GOAT project of all time. And I think that's what it is, you know. It's a lot of unlearning and then relearning, you know. I have a song called Colonize where I say, first we must decolonize, then recolonize. That's the bottom line, you know. And we basically have to kind of like wipe out and whitewash everything that we know in our minds and like restart. And it's a difficult thing, especially when you're already an adult. You've grown up with certain realities that are, you know, set in stone kind of for you. That's what you believe, and there's no one that can change that. I like to make the example of rap music. I always tell people, like, sometimes I can't reach someone in their 30s because they've already decided who they like, what they like, and that's it.
And what is right and wrong in their world.
And what is right and wrong in their world. Black and white in the textbook. We cannot ever change that fact. So sometimes what you need to do is also reach to the generation that's coming still. You know, we might not be able to reach the elders now or people that are in their midlife because they've already lived the experience of being a colored person, being a black person, being a white person.
Absolutely.
But what we can do is now speak to the generation that's still coming, that hasn't decided what that is yet, that hasn't made up their mind yet on what necessarily it is they want to subscribe to in terms of a culture or a race or whatever the case. And hopefully that won't even be a factor as the years go on in South Africa. You know, South Africa is a very complex place, of course. You know,
it's very complex.
We live in it every day, and it's difficult for us to navigate it also by being artists and creatives and still trying to remain politically correct. Yeah, so to say.
I think that's impossible. I think it's impossible to stay politically correct because and you can correct me if I'm wrong. If we're attempting to be politically correct, we are not advancing and saying we need to fix the problem. We are saying the problem is there to stay. You know, and as an artist, which I know for a fact, you've been politically incorrect.
The entire time. The entire 15 years of my career.
You've been politically incorrect, but in your political incorrectness, there's a lot of learning and messaging that you're sending out, and it's directed directly to the colored community. And for those that have never taken the time, because we're living in a time now where if you don't get to your point in 30 seconds, I'm tapping out. I'm scrolling, I'm not moving. What is it about the youngster in his political incorrectness that you'd wish a lot more people would understand?
Look, sometimes I am a bit embarrassed when I watch some of these old videos that pop up of mine and the things I say in it. I mean, I speak with Jerry a lot. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm so sorry that you have to go into these boardrooms and like sit in a meeting and then you have to explain on my behalf.
But it's who you are. It's who you are.
I know. But you know, it's tough also for my team around me because even though I'm that way, it's not to say that all of us are holding this exact same fight as priority number one. You know what I mean? Some of us also thinking of the bottom line, which is we have staff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I got
we've
mouths
got
to
we've
feed.
got overheads, we've got bills, we've got families and stuff. You know, we can't be out here on the front line just throwing our career away just because I wanted to go on a rent. You know,
Bro,
what I mean?
you've been in the front lines.
Yeah.
You know, and now I think it's a great opportunity because you said, when I said complete the sentence, colored man, you said you are misunderstood.
Yeah.
What is misunderstood about Youngster?
Well, about me, I would definitely say that people would most probably think I did this to become famous. Maybe people think I wanted to be a rapper because, you know, it was a shortcut and I didn't want to go get a job or something and I didn't want to work or study. And that's not the case. You know, this wasn't actually something that I did because I was trying to become popular. It was a calling. You know, understand what I'm saying? Many are called and few answered it.
Yeah.
And there are other youngsters out there, YoungstaCPTs out there, and other Jerrys out there, but they just didn't answer the phone.
Wow.
You know, they didn't answer their higher purpose. And the reason some of them were put on this earth was actually to pick it up, you know, and kind of run towards it. And I think that with what I did, it came from a young age. It wasn't a thing that once I confessed it to people, they even encouraged it.
Yeah.
They actually all discouraged me and told me it's never ever gonna happen. You need to pick a different dream.
Wow.
Which is crazy if you think about it, you know. So I also did this in a time when, as I said, it was unpopular. I was totally out of my element in terms of the early 2000s of South Africa, me dressing with Celtic basketball jerseys on and straight peak caps when everyone was wearing just the...
And in 2025, we can say you were ahead of your time.
There we go. I mean, there's childhood photos I post, and sometimes I look at them like, it looks like AI these days because I could have easily just AI'd a whole outfit on me. In today's time, what's real? Yeah. What is real? Yeah. You know, what do we believe now? Yes. So I tell you these stories of my childhood and somebody watches it and they just think, you know, oh, wow, that's a nice story. Yeah. You know, but as I say, once again, it was a lived experience, you know. So recording cassettes on the TDKs and then sitting for Simunye Grooves to record music videos after midnight. There and then... you know, going to the hip-hop in Durban, not even having money to get in, so just standing outside, watching who enters and who exits.
Just to experience
just so I can be closer to hip-hop, you know. So it wasn't as available to me as it is now. And it's great that for these kids now, all they have to do is go on YouTube and they just, you know, press search. Yes. It's fantastic. But I would definitely say that in my understanding of what I'm doing, there had to be some element of authenticity from home.
Absolutely.
As much as I love American culture and love hip-hop, and that's the culture that influenced me.
Absolutely.
I had to incorporate home in it. And when I looked at what was going on at home, I was like, this might get me in trouble if I say some of these things, because the last people that said it got banned from our airwaves, you know? And you look at the history, because that is how you understand the present and the future. You look at the past. So when I looked at Prophets of the City, what they had gone through, when I looked at Brasse van die Kaap, what they had gone through, when you look at Godessa, the only female hip-hop collective, the only one, talking about Women's Month, that's the only female hip-hop group in our country that existed, to my knowledge. Somebody probably going to come correct me if I'm wrong, please do. But when I look at the timeline of those legendary groups and what they stood for, I noticed they all had a political message that was rather radical and then got silenced early. So I was like, if I'm going to take this route, the same thing might happen to me. So the misunderstanding comes in that I was doing this to be seen when actually I was doing this for a cause. And it was also to incorporate our people and their upbringing and their heritage and their lifestyle into this genre of music that is Western, right? But have the dialect, have the music video shot in a local area, have the beat produced by one of our own, you know, have me wearing my own brand in the music video, you know, to try and capture some of the essence from here, because there's things that we do here that America don't know about, that the UK don't know about, you know, and it's up to us, because they schooled us. They taught us about Queensbridge and Compton and all the different places. So why can't I say Witte in the song?
Absolutely.
And you'll be confused for a couple of months, but eventually you'll see the music video and be like, oh, this must have been where he was talking about. Oh, the T-shirt says it on. That must be where he's from. Let me go do some research. Let me find out more, you know. So the misunderstanding, the miseducation of everything, it can all be kind of understood when listening to my music, when watching my videos. Yes, it takes a bit of time and a bit of effort on your side as the viewer or the audience member.
Make the effort.
But you would do it for Drake.
Ooh.
You would do it if this came from overseas, if this was clips. Let God sort them out. You would be dissecting each lyric.
We need another part for me
Song
and you to
by
have that
song.
conversation. You know we're going to need another part.
I know, but all I'm doing is just giving you small little drops in the ocean. This isn't even that much for you to digest, you know?
I think you sacrificed a key time in your career. And as someone who's followed you for a number of years, it could have been so easy for you to go bubblegum.
100%.
It could have been so easy.
We discussed that a lot.
And I always say that your sacrifice, are you prepared to not even enjoy the rewards of it?
Look,
hold on, and this is a very important part of it. As a colored man in the South African industry, where you are not easily endorsed, are you okay with the sacrifice you've made?
I'm only okay if it benefited a coming age group.
Yeah.
Only if it spun off into something that created success for another youngster in the next generation. Then I know my sacrifice wasn't in vain. I feel like Reddy D then paid a bigger price because it took 15 years for me to enter. And yes, there were other rappers and there were other groups in that 15 years, but nobody that really made an impact from Cape Town in South Africa, you know. And then later on, obviously, we went, you know, across the waters. And, you know, guys like Jitsvung have been doing this for years. Guys like Crosby have been doing this for years, traveling overseas, doing shows, doing tours. It's not a new thing. I just mean in South Africa.
Hypes of the world.
Yeah. Like just to create that sense of the same I don't know, commercialism, if you want to put it that way.
Or entertainment value.
Indeed, that exists in Johannesburg.
Yep, absolutely.
You know, because in Joburg, I feel like guys can come up in Joburg, live in Joburg, make a career in Joburg, become successful in Joburg, and never leave Joburg.
Ecosystem.
You can exist there from A to Z, whereas Cape Town's one of those places when you get to the middle of the alphabet, you're going to have to pack a bag at some point.
Do you think it's more of a mental block? And I'm directing this towards people of color, black and colored, that we struggle to acknowledge good and great when it's right in front of us, unless someone else is saying this is good and great from outside and further away from us.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that, you know, it probably exists in all parts of the world. I think when somebody with a bigger status than you acknowledges you, it makes the other people that were doubtful believe. You know?
No, because I can reference that to your career.
Yeah.
Youngster, you did how many mixtapes the 1 year? 12 mixtapes. You dropped 12 mixtapes. I'll never forget that year.
Yeah. You were on bread and butter that time.
I was on bread and butter. I'll never forget that year. And then you left. You did Hillbrow. You were in Hillbrow for 4 months?
I wish it was 4 months, but it was close to 3 years.
Close to 3 years in Hillbrow. You did your runs in Joburg. But when you came back to Cape Town, all of a sudden it was.
Yeah.
And where's the self-love?
Look, this is also another thing you must understand. Learned behavior is a lot easier to pick up on than theory. Yeah. So when you read it in a textbook, I don't really understand it. But as soon as I go outside and I practice it, I'm like, oh, this is what the textbook was talking about. So what I always make the example of, I do it a lot, and I know sometimes I repeat myself in interviews, but that's because there's only one answer I can give. But because I grew up not seeing many colored hip-hop artists, or just artists in general, maybe on that matter, on TV and radio and mass media, maybe I didn't believe that I could myself become a personality or musician in the space I was in. But maybe for a black lady living in Khayelitsha, maybe I'm just going to make an example now. Maybe because I saw a 3 months cup do it, or I saw a Ill Skills do it, or I saw a Ratix and Pioneer Unit, etc., etc. Maybe I had a little bit more belief that this thing was possible, because one day I saw them walking down the road, and the next day I saw them on a big stage. I don't mean it in that sense, but I mean the journey might have been something that you got to witness with your own eyes, so it seems more real.
There's a blueprint.
There's a success record, because I see Reddy D one day was spinning on his head on a cardboard box, and then the next day I saw him drive past me in a Skyline, and then the day after that I saw him on Mzansi rides. So now
on Channel O
on Channel O and on the stage at Winter Wonderland when I was a lady. So now I believe that this thing can be done. But if I don't see that enough, then it seems like, oh, maybe this is only reserved for this kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? So I think with the time that we're living in now you see there's a YoungstaCPT, you see all these different names out there, and you're like, oh, it's possible, which is why now you're seeing more guys throwing their coin into the game and trying to play with. Absolutely. And that's what we were waiting for.
Man.
That's what we were waiting for, bro.
We could do this forever.
I know.
Me and you can have conversations with regards to the culture and heritage, but thank you so much for honoring our heritage interview. I think I always say this to you, you deserve your flowers. And I think what I picked up from this interview is the understanding of the sacrifice that you make. You are an artist in the entertainment industry, but you've gone beyond entertainment. You've gone and fed culture. You've gone and fed ideologies. Yeah. It's a big responsibility you carry. Big responsibility. And I see your shoulders are tired because you've been carrying the culture.
I'm carrying a baby now. You can have the culture back.
Now you got your baby. Yeah. You're a successful businessman. I like to reference, not to make any comparisons, but I know that you love Nipsey Hussle as well, purely based on the ideology, on the reinvestment he made into his community. And so I just like to say that if Nipsey's looking down, he's looking at soldiers like you, and I'm sure he's extremely proud.